Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't had an opportunity to watch Game of Thrones, the Watchers on the Wall, stop listening now. Major spoilers, here we go. Here's a little bit about tonight's episode. Jon Snow and the Night's Watch face a big challenge, and that's exactly what happened, man. Once again, stop listening now, man. There's so many spoilers, man. Here we go. I'm going to do this a little bit differently tonight, this podcast, and I'm just going to talk about some of the things that we saw as far as character-wise, and I might have to stop here and there because the Miami Heat are playing the San Antonio Spurs, and I got to support Miami Heat just in case they do win. Hopefully they will. Okay, moving on. We saw Jon Snow tonight. Samwell Tarly, the Maester, the blind Maester, we found out his name, which is Aemon Targaryen. Okay, just take that in for a second, because I'm still processing it too. Gilly was there tonight. We found a new little character called Ollie, which is a young kid inside the Night's Watch. Ygritte was there. The Mace Riders, they were there. Let me see who else, man. Oh my gosh. This is the biggest one. Giants were there. Mammoths were there. Yeah, pretty much it was a war. It was the battle for the wall, okay? And the Night's Watch had to stand and fight, man. They had to defend the wall at all costs, man. And it cost several hundred lives of some of the men of the Night Watch, man. And I can't, first off, I can't even believe what was actually shown tonight because there was so much. It was like the biggest Hollywood blockbuster. Let me just put it like this. Combine the Avengers, Man of Steel, Thor the Dark World, Captain America the Winter Soldier, Edge of Tomorrow, Maleficent, and Terminator, Tarzan. Pretty much think of all of your blockbuster hits. That's what was given us tonight. And it was only like a 40-minute episode, to be honest. Probably, let's be honest, it was probably a little bit less than that. I think it was maybe like 38 minutes, 37 minutes, because they kind of cut into the time with talking about True Blood and The Leftovers and a couple other new shows that are coming, little documentaries. And then after that, they cut it kind of short because if they would have given us 50 minutes or 47 minutes or 45 minutes, I'll be honest with you, my head would have exploded. It was just too much to process. It was absolutely brilliant. From the directing, the editing, the acting, I couldn't catch any mistakes. And check this out. My Khaleesi wasn't in the episode tonight. She wasn't in the episode, but guess what? I didn't even notice it. Yeah, it was that crazy, man. I'm just gonna name off a couple of things that happened, okay? Here we go. Giants riding mammoths. Giants with arrows, okay? Giants shooting arrows. Giants towing. Giants lifting gates, okay? Arrows to the neck, beheading, protecting the gate. Oil being thrown down and oil burning people alive. What else? People being chopped in the chest with axe, and people being chopped in the chest with swords. I won't say that one because that's a major spoiler. We'll talk about that when we get in there. The army holding off another army, charging the gate, screaming at the top of your lungs. Let me just see what else. A love story. Sam becoming like the real hero of the story, man, which I was like, yes. I was like, bravo. Standing ovation for me, because it was just, I've been waiting for that moment, man. We had one more episode. I think it was like a couple of episodes ago, maybe like at the beginning of this season, where Sam was like the hero. He was actually standing up. And then last season, we got to see that also. But tonight was one of those seasons where Sam, he stood strong, man. And instead of running, he actually stood there. He gave words of motivation. He gave direction, purpose, motivation. He was able to inspire people, man. And I was just like, yes, thank you. Because the whole entire time, man, I was thinking like, okay, this has to be the end, man. This is the last episode that we're going to see Jon Snow in. This is the last episode that we're going to see Sam in. This is probably the last episode that we're going to see, Sam and Jon together. And all of a sudden, something else happened. And I was just like, wow, thank you so much, man, for just... for not doing what I thought you would do, okay? Because, I mean, honestly, when I'm watching Game of Thrones, I get too anxious, I get too excited, I get too nervous, and, I always guess, I say, okay, this person's gonna die, they're gonna kill off half the cast, and it didn't happen, man. I will say this before I cut this episode off, or for this podcast, we lost someone tonight that I can't wrap my heart around. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I cared so much about this character, and he or she, I'm not going to spoil that yet, he or she is gone, and it just sucks. I'll be honest with you. It's horrible to just think that from now on, we're not going to see them on the show anymore. It's very, very tough, man. And I will say this, that the way that it ended, the way that their chapter closed on Game of Thrones was perfect, because you always wondered if that connection was still there. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Guys, yeah, I got too excited. I had to kind of calm down a little bit before I actually started in the podcast. So this is the end. Put your comments below. Let me know what you thought about the episode. Yeah, just everything, man. Can you believe giants? I had no clue. I thought giants were a myth, okay? That's why I guess I'm so excited. I thought the giants were a myth. They're not a myth. They are actually legends, and they're actually living and breathing and running and screaming. It's crazy, man. Yeah, so we're out of here, guys. Thanks again for listening. If you haven't had an opportunity to watch Game of Thrones, The Watchers on the Wall, stop listening now. Major spoilers, here we go. Tonight's episode was a Hollywood smash hit, man. It felt like 2 hours and 15 minutes of the most amazing script and screenplay, acting and directing and editing that I've ever witnessed. I just can't believe what happened tonight. And I just gotta say, HBO, man, hats off to you, man. Salute to you. You did an excellent job in this. And there were no characters besides Sam, Jon Snow, Ygritte, Gilly, the Maester, Ollie, and Mace Rider's little gang. Let me see. And some giants. That was pretty much all the people that were there. There wasn't any Khaleesi. There wasn't Unsullied. There was nobody else there, man. The Lannisters weren't there. And this episode was actually carried by Jon Snow, man. So I guess for what I'm trying to say is that it's kind of cool to see that this series can depend on just 1 or 2 actors, not just the main characters, you know? It can actually depend on other people, man. It's an amazing cast, man. Okay, so what happened tonight, man? Episode starts off, and I'm not going to jump around. I'm kind of going to go, you know, level by level, because every single action that I'm talking about, you know, there was a cause and a reaction and an events that happen. They have to go in place in order to make sense, okay? We know that the threat is that the wall is going to come under attack from Mace Rider and the gang, whatever those people are called. If you guys know the name, I don't know the name of those people. They're like meat eaters, man. They're like Hannibals. I guess you can say that. They're like Hannibal Lecters on the show. There you go. And they run around pretty much destroying anything that they come in contact with. And we get to see them tonight, man. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. They have these little what do you even say, like scars on their faces, man, and different designs on their faces from, I guess maybe like tribal tattoos, but they're like skin incisions, and it's pretty creepy. Jon Snow and Sam, they're kind of talking about love and what love is and what love means, and is it possible to fall in love and all this other stuff. Do you ever think, Sam asks Jon Snow, do you ever think I'll fall in love, etc., etc.? And then Jon kind of explains to him about the connection, what it is to kind of take it, you know, the distance. And then Sam starts talking about the vow that they took as men of the Night's Watch. It's kind of a clause in there that's open to interpretation. So he believes that he's able to do the deed, and it doesn't really matter if you do the deed, according to Sam. We get to see Banshee's albino taking some role, man. I have no clue what his role is, man, but he has the ability to talk with the animals, man, just like that one guy did that's part of Ygritte's group. And his eyes go back, man. He's like, you know, using his animal vision to kind of look at what this owl is seeing, man. So he gets inside this owl vision, and then he locks onto his target, and then after that he lets, you know, the rest of his gang or group know, and then after that they start taking off towards the wall, man. The blind maester finds Sam reading Maester Fool's The Wildlings book, man, and he's kind of trying to, I guess, understand what these wildlings are actually going to do, what they're capable of, I guess you can say, because he doesn't, I guess, Sam doesn't know as of right now where Gilly is, and if Gilly is alive with her, with the baby. And the blind maester tells Sam about this story about who he was before, and that, love is real. He's been in love before, and it's going to be just amazing once he gets there and once he experiences it. He says that he wasn't always just a maester in the Night's Watch. He was actually Aemon Targaryen. And this was kind of crazy because I was like, whoa, Targaryen. I said, where have I heard that word from, man? And, obviously that's Khaleesi's. That's Khaleesi's name, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if he's like her father. I don't know. It's crazy, but he kind of described this lady. I don't know. I don't really want to say that, but he described this beautiful lady that he knew one time. He doesn't know where she is now, but at one time during his youth, he knew of this lady, and his last name, it says Targaryen. And I don't know, man. I have no clue, but that's something that he said. He said, my name was Aemon Targaryen, and I was a future king. So yeah, take that in, man. Let me know what you think about that. I have no clue, man. Anyway, man, Gilly arrives, man, to the Night's Watch. She knocks on the, the big door, the big gate or whatever, man. They let her in, and then she tries to plead her case. She tries to plead her case to get inside. And then Sam finally finds or hears her voice. He runs over there. He's like, let her in. And then they reunite. Sam puts her inside of a lock room. Inside of, I guess you can call it like a storage room, if you will. And then he locks her in there. And he says that I'll be back. And then all of a sudden she tells him, she's like, Sam, what are you, stupid? Like, stay in here with me. There's no reason for you to fight. Well, this is like the opportunity for Sam to become the hero, man. Gilly already told Sam that everyone in Molestown is dead. And Sam is like, it takes a hero to do this. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I'm part of the Night's Watch. I'm a soldier in the Night's Watch. This is what men do. I have to do this, man. He kisses Gilly, he locks the door, and after that, he goes to battle, man. Now, as he's walking out, he sees this scared soldier, and the soldier is like, I don't know what I should do. I'm just this nobody. And then all of a sudden, Sam tells him, he says, I was once a nobody, but then after that, I was able to kill all these, these beasts or whatever, this unkillable beast. And then he says, I'm not nothing anymore. I was nothing, but I'm not nothing anymore. Then all of a sudden, man, we see this fire. We see this fire, man. This fire is burning across the land. And obviously, last episode, the previous episode before this one, we heard from Mace Rider that, he was going to set this fire. And once you see this fire, it'll be the biggest fire that has ever been seen. It'll be seen from distances far, far away. And you'll know the signal when I burn it, when I light the signal, this is it. And that's what happens, man. Then all of a sudden the war starts, man. The war begins, and you see this line of, I guess you could say, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I'll say like maybe 30, 40, 50,000 people all lined up on this tree line, and they're rushing towards the wall. And that begins this war, man. I'm going to stop here because this next podcast, I got to stop here and start again because it's going to go for a little bit longer, but all the good stuff is in there, man. So if you want to fast forward to there, go ahead and do that. We're out of here, guys. Thanks again for listening, and let me know what you think. Okay, if you haven't had an opportunity to watch Game of Thrones, The Watchers on the Wall, stop listening now. Major spoilers. Here we go. This episode tonight was absolutely the best episode of Game of Thrones, and we're going to pick up right where the action started. You see this humongous fire that it's burning across the land. All of the trees are burning. And when I say it's probably like, I don't know, 100 miles long. All of a sudden you see where the tree line is at, you see, 1,000, 10,000, 50,000 soldiers that are lining up, and they're marching out of the woods coming towards the Night's Watch where the wall is at. And they start charging. Well, all of a sudden you see the camera focuses on this giant foot. And I'm like, what is that? And this giant foot, when it lands, when it begins to step, whatever this thing is, the entire screen shakes, the land shakes, you hear the rumbling across the land, and it's a giant. So there's giants inside of Game of Thrones, man. There's a giant, and the giants, they're walking next to mammoths, okay? And these giants are equipped with arrows. And these giants, they can do anything that a man can do, a giant can do. Let me just go ahead and say that, okay? So all of a sudden, man, the Night's Watch, they start, taking measures, man. You see Sir Alistair, he begins to, first off, he begins to question himself, and then he tells Jon Snow, he's like, are you ready to rub it in yet? Are you going to say it now that you were right? And Jon's like, no, I don't want to say that. And he's like, the day that a man who used to question the masters or whatever, the maesters, begins to question himself, that's the day that we all die. And then he was like, but today I'm not going to die. And he goes down and he protects the gate, man. That's where Sir Alistair is going to be at. He leaves Jon Snow and a couple of other guys up at the top of the wall. And then after that, the guys at the top of the wall, they start taking action, man. Shooting the arrows. The arrows start shooting. The guys from Mace Rider's army, they start charging towards the wall. Now, check this out. You have some of the guys are coming from the opposite side. So you got, let's call it the north and the south, okay, or the east and the west, whatever. They're charging from one direction. The people at the top of the wall are shooting down. They're throwing down oil. They're shooting fire-tipped arrows. You have the other guys that are just standing there with swords as the wildlings are coming over the gate, and they are attacking inside of the gate. So they're trying to hold the gate off. They didn't destroy the tunnel, so that's where the giants and the mammoths and the rest of the army, 50 billion people or whatever, they're going through that tunnel because they didn't seal off the tunnel, man. And all of a sudden, man, you see this giant bends down to the ground, okay, pulls out an arrow from its back. And we're talking about a giant, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Pulls a giant, humongous arrow from its back, grabs it, takes its giant bow out, pulls it back, takes aim, and lets the giant arrow fly. This arrow hits people. It actually, I can't believe this. I know it's kind of crazy, but I mean, obviously an arrow would do that. It hits its target. It takes its target and it actually carries it for like a mile away. Yeah, think about that for a second. It's like we have little arrows because we're human beings, man. But it's like a giant took a tree, like a redwood tree, and let it fly. And it flies with actual precision. Like it's almost like maybe it's taking like a broadsword, if we can kind of put things in perspective, man. It's like a broadsword. The giant grabs a broadsword, he takes it, and he flings it into the air, and then the broadsword hits its target, chops through it, but the edge of the end of the arrow has those feathers or whatever, and it actually hits, and it holds on to its target, and it takes its target, and it flies it like miles away, man. I'm just trying to kind of grasp, what just happened, man. It'll let you guys know what's happening. That's how crazy this is. The giants, man, they take their mammoths, they're riding their mammoths, they're walking their mammoths. They take it up to one of the gates that's guarding or kind of blocking the tunnel, and they're trying to pull the gate off. They're trying to gain access to the tunnel, man. That's where one of, I guess you could say, the weak point is at. All of a sudden, man, Jon Snow, man, he takes some of his guys, he has them load up this oil in these barrels, and he pours it down, not pours, he just drops it over the edge of the wall. It goes down and then hits. And then once it hits the ground, it connects to the ground, it explodes, man, and all the fire and the oil, begin to burn. And then after that, the mammoths get hit with the oil and the fire, they burn. The giants, they get hit with it, they burn. And then one of the giants ends up getting killed. And I guess maybe the giants are brothers or their cousins, or I don't know, maybe they're father and son, man. But this giant gets pissed. And this giant, oh my gosh, man, this giant, he just gets angry, man, because he used the mammoth to connect like a tow cable and start pulling the wall. But then, his mammoth took off running because of the fire. It just took off like a little scaredy cat. One of his brothers is dead, and out of pure anger and rage, man, this damn giant picks up this damn steel door and gate and actually goes through, man. Now, I'll pause there for a second. We'll come back to that. All of a sudden, man, inside of the gate, inside of the actual Night's Watch, man, inside of Castle Black, man, like, they're in there fighting, okay? Sir Alistair is down there. He's, you know, he's really, like, killing a lot of people, man. He's doing really, really good. Then all of a sudden, you see the wildlings come in there, and they are massacring millions, man. They're slicing cats in half. They're beheading people. They're slicing people through the chest. They're breaking ribs, man, snapping necks, breaking legs, snapping arms, man, breaking off fingers. I mean, you name it, that's what they're doing, man. The only thing that they're not doing, I think, is raping people. And maybe they were raping people, we just didn't see that, man. And what's kind of cool is they give you, like, this Lord of the Rings style adventure, like, almost like a Peter Jackson type scene. It's because the camera's kind of freely going around, and it's showing you in real time all the adventures. So you're never wondering, okay, I wonder what this character's doing. I wonder what Sam is doing right now. I wonder what Jon Snow is doing right now. I wonder what Sir Alistair's doing right now. I wonder what this new kid, Ollie, I wonder what he's up to. They actually show you that, man, and it's in one fluid motion, man. I don't know how they did this. I have no clue. It's just the brilliance of Game of Thrones, man, and it just had me so excited. Sir Alistair, man, he gets killed. He gets sliced because of, you know, trying to protect the gate. He gets chopped in the stomach, man. And then, he was like, protect the damn gate. And then, Jon Snow is up. He's still up at the top of the wall. You know, Sam has to go and he has to, you know, try to get more men down there because they're losing the fight with the wildlings. Okay. And what was kind of crazy, they had this wildlings leader that we saw. It's not the dude off of Banshee, but it's the other guy. It's like one of the guys, one of the wildlings that's just kind of like really nasty, really angry to, Ygritte. And Sam, he has this bow in his hand, okay? And it's like a crossbow. And he's running, trying to get, you know, to a location to where he can actually, you know, take aim and fire. And all of a sudden, you see that wildlings leader run up to Sam. And then Sam is like, you know, trying, you know, desperately to get this bow and arrow. He's trying to get this arrow loaded into the crossbow while the wildling dude is like running at him at full speed. And he's literally, when Sam takes aim, and he actually really doesn't take aim, he just kind of puts it on his hip and shoots it. So he shoots it real quick. It hits this dude right in the forehead. Hits the dude, hits the wildling leader right in the forehead. Boom, he's done. The whole entire time, what's kind of cool, man, is because you know that the situation between Ygritte and Jon Snow is like this tale of love, okay? Her lover got away. Jon Snow was trying to do the right thing and get back, and you know he never meant to fall in love, etc., etc. Well, she's out there and she's taking vengeance, man. She's shooting these people, these Night Watch soldiers. She's shooting them dead. And she's with precision, man. Boom. One after one after the other. She's just hitting them. They're gone. And there's really nothing that they can do, man, besides die. Well, she takes aim at Sam, and she just kind of, almost like a warning symbol, I guess you can say, like a warning sign. She shoots a fire arrow over his head, and it lands into this wall. He looks up, and you see her. She's on the move, man. All of a sudden, man, Sam, he goes towards, like, I guess you say, like, this elevator, this old-time elevator, and he has to gain access to it to go tell Jon Snow that they need more help. And what ends up happening is that, you know, this little kid named Ollie that we get introduced to, he's like really, really scared. Well, once again, man, Sam takes that hero route and he motivates Ollie to actually turn, because Ollie's job is just to lower the gates, lower the bridge, raise the bridge. That's his job. And then after that, man, Ollie listens to Sam. He gets the courage after this little story that Sam told him about courage. And then he raises Sam all the way up there. And then before you see Sam get to the top where Jon Snow is at, the camera pans back and you see Ollie looking at this crossbow. And You're like, whoa, what does that have to do with anything? Well, they explain it to you later. Okay, Sam goes up to the top. He tells Jon Snow that they're losing the fight down at the gate, and all the wildlings are in there. He needs help. Sir Alistair is down. You know, and Jon Snow is like, listen, he put this other guy in charge. He's like, I'm not going to die today. He motivates the people. He grabs his sword. He heads down there with Sam. All of a sudden, man, we switch the cameraman. It goes back down to the tunnel where the giant is at. You see all of Sam's like little little Night's Watch friends. They're out there inside of the tunnel where the damn giant is at, and the giant is like coming at them full steam ahead, man. He's like, well, how the hell do we stop a giant? And then he's like, you know, we stand here and we defend the gate. That's what Jon told us to do. And then one guy's like, well, Jon's not in charge. I'm getting out of here. You know, he's not Sir Alistair. And he's like, listen, you stand here. And after that, they start reciting the Night's Watch motto, if you will, man. And that's how they get motivated. All of a sudden, you see the giant running full speed. He's probably going like, I'd say 40, 50 miles per hour, man. He hits this gate that's blocking it. And then after that, the camera cuts, man. It cuts and it goes back up. You see Jon Snow back inside of Castle Black. He's actually defending, man. He's slicing people, man. He's doing an amazing job, man. He's just killing all these wildlings. Then after that, they show another pan view, man, just kind of showing what everybody's doing. You get to see Ygritte's friend, man, the dude with the red hair, the guy with the red hair. He's doing some good stuff. He gets sliced, and then after that, man, you see Ygritte. They cut back to Ygritte, and you see her, you know, shooting some more people. All of a sudden, man, Jon Snow gets into a confrontation with another one of the wildling leaders, I guess you could say, and then he ends up, you know, getting hurt pretty bad. And I'm not going to even lie about that. He gets hurt really, really bad. But he ends up killing the guy in the end. All of a sudden, Ygritte, man, she takes aim at Jon Snow, but she doesn't shoot. You know, Jon Snow is kind of just standing there. He's kind of stunned a little bit, but he turns around. You get to see him face to face with Ygritte for the first time. She smiles at him. He smiles at her. And then all of a sudden, man, Ygritte gets hit in the back with an arrow from Ollie. And that's pretty much game over, man. Jon Snow runs over there to Ygritte, and he holds her in his arms, and they talk for a little bit. They talk about love. They talk about, you know, how much they cherish each other, and she dies, man. And there's really nothing else to say besides that, man. Like, the episode was crazy, man. The guy that's Ygritte's leader, or whatever, with the red hair, he's still alive with like 4 or 5 arrows in him, which we didn't know prior to the death of Ygritte. And Jon Snow, instead of killing that guy, he actually tells the Night's Watch to chain that guy up. They'll talk to him later. And then after that, Jon Snow walks out. And he has this plan to where he tells Sam that he's going to go talk to Mace Rider, and that's where the episode pretty much ends. It ends as the gate opens up, Jon Snow walks out, the scene fades to white for the first time. Everything else used to fade to black, but it faded to white, and then the scene cuts, and then the music starts, and that's the end of the episode, man. That was literally the best episode, man. I can't say anything bad about it, man. Like I said, even though I didn't get Khaleesi, I didn't get all of my favorite, you know, Lady Sansa, I didn't get anybody else. They just gave us a solid episode, man. And it's kind of sucks because Ygritte, man, that was one of my favorite characters. You know, like I say, it was always Sam, Ygritte, Khaleesi, Lady Sansa, people like that. Those characters are some of the best ones ever. And they took another one from me, man. Like, it's just crazy. But that's it, guys. I'm going to have one last podcast after this, and we'll talk about what's going to happen for the season finale. I'm going to probably make some predictions, but I'll probably stay away from it. I don't know yet, but we'll see. Thanks again for listening, man. What did you think about those damn Giants, man? And how are they going to play, you know, factor in till tomorrow? That's going to be crazy, man. But, or next week, I should say. We're out of here. And I can't believe, first off, I can't believe before I go, I can't believe that Jon Snow walked out of there and he had no weapon. He walks out of there with no weapon. That's just crazy. We're out of here, guys. Thanks for listening. We're out of here. We're out of here. That's it. Yeah. Let me know. Comment. I'm way too excited.